Hello everyone, we are doing chapter number 10 of history, that is India after independence. In earlier video we have discussed about the problems faced by the new government and feature of constitution. In this video we will discuss about the formation of state and so on. Now the big question arises that how would be states formed? During 1920s, INC means Indian National Congress, promised states on the basis of language, but the riots which took place during partition made Nehru and Patel to rethink about it. That means in 1920s, Indian National Congress has promised that after independence, each major linguistic group, linguistic means related to language, that group of our country would have its own province. After independence, the scenario was changed. That means that plan was changed. Both Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and Deputy Prime Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel were against the creation of linguistic states. Nehru clearly said that disruptionist tendency had come to the fore. To check them, the nation had to be strong and united. So finally they decided not to make any division of country and that it should grow as one nation. This really disappointed the Kannada, Malayalam and Marathi speakers who had been looking forward to have their own state. Sardar Patel also rejected the idea of linguistic provinces as it would not help the growth of nationalism. The decision of the Congress created great disappointment among these people, Kannada speakers, Malayalam speakers, Marathi speakers, and Telugu speakers. They began to protest. Protest by Telugu speakers Madras Presidency. They wanted a separate state named Andhra. In 1952 general elections, Nehru faced black flags during his campaign. So that time what have happened, these Telugu speakers, they want their own separate state. And when the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru had come in this area, then that people not supported him and they demanded their separate state as Andhra. Potty Sriramulu, in October 1952, he went on hunger strike demanding state of Andhra. So the strongest protest came from the Telugu-speaking district of Madras Presidency. In October, a veteran Gandhian, Potty Sriramulu, went on a hunger strike demanding a different Andhra state for the Telugu speaker. And this demand attracted much support. Hartals and bans were observed in many towns. He died on 15 December 1952 after 58 days of his strike. After his death, the protest became so great that the government agreed to meet their demand. And on 1st October 1953, the new state Andhra, later its name Andhra Pradesh, came into being. Now other linguistic communities started demand for their own state. So the news of his death widespread was so intense that government was forced to form Andhra Pradesh. You can see in the map there is shown here Andhra Pradesh. Now there is also partition, Telangana also separate from the Andhra Pradesh. With the red color it's shown here. As other linguistic communities also start demanding separate states, so a state reorganization commission was set up that submitted its report in 1956. So that means when Andhra Pradesh become a state for the Telugu speaker, then other linguistic communities, they also want their own separate state on the basis of their languages. So because of it, a state reorganization committee was set up. It submitted report in 1956. And it recommended the redrawing of districts and provincial boundaries to form compact provinces of Assamese, Bengali, Oriya, Tamil and Malayalam. So that means on the basis of language, these boundaries were drawn. In 1960, Bombay was divided on the basis of Marathi and Gujarati speaker. So that in 1960, the Bombay was earlier presidency, and on the basis of language, because in the Bombay, Marathi and Gujarati, both people were living there, and on the basis of these languages, Marathi, for the Marathi people become the Maharashtra, and the Gujarati people get the Gujarat. Punjab was divided into Punjab and Haryanvi for the Hindi speaker. So Punjab, that was also one province, and that was also divided in two states, that Punjab and Haryana. So on the basis of these languages, Punjabi people, for the Punjabi people, Punjab state, and for the Haryanvi or Hindi, Haryana state become on 1966. Planning for development. So for the development of India, the also aim was to lift India out of poverty. Poverty means garibi. So that means that they also want that the India should be out of poverty, and to set up modern technical and industrial base. So then the commission was also tasked with building a modern industrial base. Planning Commission was set up 1950. It designs and executes suitable policies. So in 1950, government set up for the development of India a planning commission whose work is to help design and execute suitable policy for economic development. India accepted mixed economy model. So it had to decide which industry were to be set up by the government and which needed to be initiated by the market. So it was a given responsibility of the defining what roles the government and private sector would play in developing industries. It was decided that economy will be developed as mixed economy. Mixed economy means in this model both the state and the private sector would play important and supportive roles in increasing production and generating jobs. So that means here those people who are having the capital, these people will also invest in it, and with the mixed economy, both, that means the state and private sector, that means government and private sector, both would play important role, and they also generate the jobs and also increasing the production. This means that there will be a participation by the both government and private sector for the overall development of India. So that means this one is a mixed economy where private sector as well as state, means government, will do the work for the development of the country. 5 years plan. So in 1956, 5 years plan is a plan made by India for the next 5 years to plan its development. So that means there is motive for the development of the particular years. So that means that for the 5 years they also make the plan and on which they have to do the work. First 5 years plan was made in 1951 to 56. In 1956, a second 5-year plan was formulated which focused on the development of heavy industries like steel and on the building of large dams. So that means, and that time also construction of dams which are also controlled by the government, and these heavy industries were also developed there. Bridges and dams constructed under the 5-year plans ultimately became the symbol of India's development. Focus was to develop heavy industries, steel and build dams. So that means second 5-year plan 1956, that was also focused to develop, and they focus on the heavy industries. These sectors were kept under government control. So that means government is also controlling these sectors, and both sectors, that means the state, public sector or private sector, both were doing the work for the welfare of the India. The idea of focusing on heavy industries got a mixed reaction as some didn't support it. So that means when they have people have seen that they are only focusing on the heavy industry, got a mixed reaction by the people. So here is one example is given. Gandhi's follower Meera Behan believed that science and technology can earn us a lot but will soon affect our environment, health and morally decent life. So Meera Behan was right in her view. Today science and machinery has created immense environmental disorder which is very harmful for human beings. There is also some effects of the industrial pollution. It contaminates source of drinking water. It releases unwanted toxins into the air, and it affects the climate in more than one ways. Trees release water vapor and provide required shade that keeps the soil moist. With the clearance of tree cover, the soil is directly exposed to the sun, making it dry. So that means only focus on the industries, that is not only our motto for the development. There should be motive that the people should be healthy and morally decent. So that means in this sphere government has not take action. In 1950s and 60s, world saw a Cold War between USA and USSR. India got independence soon after the great destruction of the Second World War, and new international body United Nations was formed in 1945. The 1950 and 60 saw the emergence of the Cold War. So that means so at the time India became free and countries around the world were undergoing a change. Many new nations were born and new alliances were formed after the World War II. The years between 1950s and 60s saw the beginning of a new conflict between the United States and USSR, with both countries entering into the military alliance or blocs with other nations, and this conflict came to be known as the Cold War. Our then foreign ministers Nehru followed non-alignment policy. It did not join any group. So alignment means to support opinion of a particular country or maybe group. So that means here our foreign minister Nehru followed non-alignment policy. That means they are not supported any of the countries opinion, and they become the member of non-alignment. They followed the policy non-alignment policy. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, did not want India to be part of any bloc. He joined with leaders of Egypt, Yugoslavia, Indonesia, and Ghana to launch the non-aligned movement. According to the non-aligned movement, countries should not join either of the two major alliances, and India played an active role in mediating between the America and Soviet alliance. That means so America, USA, and Soviet alliance means USSR. India took a humanitarian and moral stand against war, but for one reason or another, many non-aligned countries, including India, got involved in wars. By the 1970s, a large number of countries joined the non-aligned movement. India was done so because India had gained independence only a few years back. Hence, it was important for the India to focus on development instead of joining any war. So that means our leaders, they also think about it. We are getting right now that independence and we have to maintain, and for the development they have also they should not join any war. Till now we have understood how our India stepped towards development and what efforts have been taken by our leaders to make it a nation. So how our India is today. India celebrated its 16th the Independence Day on 15th August 2007, but now that is also more years, and it is a democratic country where government is by, of, and for the people. So we can see after these years, our country, that time also democratic 1947, and right now that we are also following the democratic system of government, and that means the here is government is made by the people, that is chosen by the people. Now doubts about the India, that first is will break into parts on linguistic basis, because our leaders want that should be the one nation and that should not be divided, but that is divided, that is break into the parts on the basis of linguistic, that means on the basis of language, will come under military rule. Also that is military rule is also there, sometime it's also happen, and but this has not happened as India is a democratic and united country where people from different faiths and with different language stay together. We have a free press and elections are conducted to choose state and central government. So that means after these years our country is also still democratic and it's also united in spite of different language people, different faiths and different religion people are also living here, they stay together, and we have also a free press, that means that this press independent and they can also express their views, and people are also free to express their views, and elections are conducted to choose state and central government, that is a power, that means the power is also given to the people, so then according to them they can also choose their government, they can select their representatives, they can choose their representatives. On the other hand, there are some contradiction too. So what are these contradictions? Sharp divisions among society. So that means that in some sphere we are also successful, but in some spheres we are also not success. So there is also sharp division between the rich and poor. Despite constitutional guarantees, the untouchables or the let's face violence and discrimination even today. Between high and low caste in rural areas, they still face discrimination. Some live luxurious life and others are below poverty line. So that means we can see here is people, some people are also living luxurious life, that means these are the rich people, and some of the other people are also there who are living below the poverty line. At last, we can say that our country has developed itself into a democratic economy which is focusing on growth, but it still lags behind as there are. So that means here our country is also developed country and its democratic economy is also focusing for the growth, but in some sphere we are also behind, that means the some of the people are not get educated, maybe they don't have the resources, and some people are also not getting the justice. So in some sphere we are also lacking. So children, thank you and have a nice day.